here.
Yeah. So I'm a citizen and I'm videotaping also.
That's fine. You
So,
know, good.
yeah.
Yeah. We don't have anything we put on TV.
Well, that's good. We won't have any issues.
Oh, what a day.
Whoop,
Sorry.
careful there.
And Dr. Coffee. I'm discombobulated, sorry. Everything's discombobulated right now.
Did you have a full day?
Well, yeah, and I still have hurricane brain, so I'm just like
Oh.
trying to, and I, you know, got all this stuff I got called down there about
And
the
found the
court
coffee.
and,
Yeah.
yeah.
Did you get your golf cart back?
No, not yet. And I haven't called them, so I need to call them. Find out what's going on, I don't know. They weren't in a big hurry, they're on Florida time. It's just like, well, we'll get to it when we can.
You hear the sirens going on?
I did, yes. Do I have a tornado or?
No, it was just a lightning alert on the golf course.
I didn't even find it.
Yeah,
I
the
heard a
lightning.
bunch of people screaming in the room saying, help me.
No, they get canceled.
It got canceled.
Yeah, it's been busy all day long. It's, when I went out, had to go to the bank and get some change to take deposits, and it was lined up halfway down Stone Plant Road back that way.
They're pretty good ways down there.
Did you get your board?
Yes, ma'am.
That's, they were waiting on that.
That's one reason why it's,
Back.
yeah, we were down all weekend. Yeah, we got it fixed. Looks good.
You coming? No, sorry. Yeah. Yeah.
Is that gravel
No.
out there from?
No,
working on the floor?
Yeah, you coming?
No,
You're
that's-
just going around it, aren't
That's
you?
some,
Around the
I had to
line.
buy a couple of loads because we,
Okay. All
you
right.
know, we're in the
Thanks,
process
bud.
of replacing this scale over here.
Yeah.
So I had to come up with a different route for the MBI trucks to get around, because sometimes they have to come through here.
Yeah.
And even after we get that scale fixed, they can't come that way anymore because they don't need to drive across the corner of the scale. But they're gonna have to keep going around that way till we get the new transfer station going, and then they just loop all the way around the building. So that was, I had to do that for them.
Did you get your factory? Did you get?
It's old man's mark.
I know, they do. You got little arms.
That's all it is.
Or people spot.
It's an old age spot.
It's called senile pigmentation.
You know, so you get stuff like this.
Yeah.
That's what 83 years will do for you.
I have patients say, what is this? I said, it's old people spot. It means you're a golden year person.
Did they get to play at all?
One hole.
Is this the first time he's been out?
No.
Oh, you had a golf tournament? Is that wet? You got
Yeah, it
wet?
was,
Is there a
they
sign-in sheet to speak?
played one hole.
You're not
Oh, thanks,
letting,
Ben.
no
That's-
citizen comments tonight?
We can, if you'd like to.
Great, yes, I would.
Okay.
Thank
Yes, okay, you are welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, I went in there and I'm like,
Sorry.
they only played one hole. And can I have my money back on the golf cart or something? Give me a rain check.
Your rain check?
That was our second time to play it there, so we won't play it there again.
keep thinking I'm gonna take my youngest over to play.
You should.
He likes to go once I drag him over there. He's awful at it, but that's okay. It's all about
You
fun.
gotta practice.
So he's still in school.
He's a senior.
Yeah.
Did I tell you he's joining Science Olympiad?
Good.
Yeah. We're gonna go identify trees on the Vanderbilt campus, I guess.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Let me know when you go. We could probably work that into Jacob's.
Yeah, I still have my book from that.
From forestry?
From the trees at Vanderbilt. When I was in junior high, we had to go do that.
I did
And my mom
mine.
pulled it out like 2 months ago. She still got it.
That's pretty cool.
I did the trees at Ball State. I had a
Yeah.
class and we had the dichotomous key.
Yeah.
We had to identify the trees. It's good. It's not a video game, so I'm very much in favor of doing
Yeah.
tree identification.
Now they got these apps where you just pull it out.
Yeah, you can just take a picture. I was at that guy from another state.
Oh, the one, a while back. I need to pay you some money. I don't think I have any. No, I'm supposed to give Shannon
Yeah,
money.
give Shannon cash. If you're using Venmo, give it to me.
I'll need to find some.
Is that Tina?
Yeah.
Sorry. Oh,
No, no, it's all right. It's tight.
I don't have their numbers.
I need to get cash. I wonder if John would bring me.
Can you get there?
I won't see
You
her.
don't have
Everybody
Venmo?
can show up, I'll move, but
No, I won't do that. I won't see her tonight anyways. She's got something, I forget what she said she had to do with the county. I took my
Yeah,
iPad
my
by there.
contacts get dry,
'Cause,
so I have to,
The Apple password
When I went to my ophthalmologist,
needed updating and I don't
It's
know.
about 3 weeks.
I took it over there and dropped it off.
she told me to start using it, but I didn't know I had dry. It does feel a bit better.
over, I get the drier mine get, I think. But
Larry's everybody coming.
as far as I know, yeah, I saw Rick out here.
Jamie's here, so.
That must be Jamie in that car right there, I guess, I don't know. Somebody's parked right there.
I was like, oh. That's Mr. Murphy. You want me banging on the window?
No, they get a little time. Larry, you gonna move?
I don't know, we're kicking around the idea.
Going to Texas.
No. Don't go east.
I gotta get with them.
I'm gonna
and,
go there and get out of
I think they got an agent they're gonna transfer to.
Really?
Because we know my last day is November 1.
No,
I ain't told you that.
no, you hadn't told me that. Well, I'll be down
I'm
there.
retiring.
You're retired? Are you really?
Yep.
Come get me out of
No, you're good. Sorry.
No, you're good. I was seeing if it was getting me out of the.
Oh,
It was
okay.
like right on me. I'm like,
I'm
oh.
getting you on. Oh, man. What are you talking about?
How old are you now?
58.
It's time.
Can I leave before you do?
Did you sell, did you sell out?
Hmm?
Did you sell your business?
We don't get to sell it. They do it different.
No, I hadn't heard that.
I thought
Now,
you did.
now I know.
I guess your son-in-law didn't tell you.
No, well,
can't.
I'm surprised too.
Well, I told him not to say anything.
He's probably been too busy. He was in California last week, I think, playing golf.
Mm-hmm. I saw the pictures.
Yeah. They played Pebble Beach last week.
That's nice.
Yeah, it must be nice.
Yeah,
You can do
that's a
it, I
nice
guess.
course.
Yeah. If you can do it, I guess.
Is Butch coming?
Yeah.
He's out of here. He's
It doesn't look like it because the bottom's
ambling this way.
the arms do it.
Yeah.
Let's see. I remember we got
True there.
You want to sit and I'll stand.
Should I sit on your lap?
Maybe she could, but no.
I'm kidding.
Although this is blocking the door, that's not. Maybe over here.
Somehow.
Will we sign in?
Yeah, I guess so, since whether they want to speak or not, I guess probably ought to.
Can y'all sign in? Put your name on there.
Do y'all wanna speak?
No, do you want to speak?
Okay.
Well, I'd still like to get everybody's
Oh,
name, if
yeah,
that's
where do we
okay.
sign, yeah, where do we sign?
There's-
Oh, okay, here you go.
Okay.
You got a,
You want
I got
all the
pen.
I
visitors to
got
sign
pen,
that?
I just got pencil.
What they said?
pencil word, yeah.
Craig
You want
said.
all the visitors? Okay, I'll sign it.
Hey, Lou.
I'm glad I didn't go.
We should put that crazy man. Can't do that. Table might be-
Mary was spying at you out the window.
What's that?
Mary was spying at you out the window.
Yeah, I walked
She's-
over to
she's gonna
the
nod.
You
tipping
want everybody to
floor.
sign that? You want everybody to sign
Well, I guess we need a record of who all's here, I guess.
it? Okay.
I don't sign
We're
it.
done this morning anyway.
I'm not gonna speak, so.
I don't know, we need everybody's name, but I
No.
don't speak, I don't
That would be unusual.
Before it starts raining.
Double check, mine's super loud.
Anybody else coming?
Here's, don't pass those down.
Anybody else coming?
I didn't bring the agenda, it's pretty easy.
I know, it's,
I appreciate you
that's
saying
what I
that.
thought as well, but anyway.
Yeah, I think so. Well, yeah, here. So you did get this online, by the way. I thought you had it online. Yep.
Thank
You okay?
Yeah, tear up the place.
Thank you for getting that online. Thursday?
Yeah, middle of the week last week.
The tipping floor looked good. Larry, I went over and looked at it.
Does,
Did a
don't
good
it?
job
I'm
with that.
really
Yeah.
pleased with it,
Oh,
yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, it looks good. Thank you.
You feel good with what they did with it?
Yeah, it looks great.
It's a whole lot smoother on the operators, that's for sure.
Yeah.
A truck full of junk that's good done, but I guess I'm not gonna do it today, as long as it's too long.
You still have that dummy over there playing out by the side?
We got rid of it over the weekend. Yeah, we got rid of it over the weekend. Did some cleanup back here on Friday all day.
Oh, I saw the dummy, yeah. I was like, yeah, I s-
I don't know if that was a dress man again, or if that was just
I don't know, it's been laying over there for a bit, I don't know how it got over there,
It's sort of fun watching and see what people are throwing out.
Of everything.
but it'll amaze you, actually.
I got a back truck full of shit I gotta take over. Yeah, but I'm not gonna do it today, last time.
As it was coming down, I thought, should I throw some stuff in my truck and bring it?
I did, but I'm not gonna wait for mine.
Yeah.
Well, it could be a closed Friday and Saturday, there's your backup.
Yeah. You going up Saturday?
She's the girl.
Which?
Hmm?
You going up Saturday?
Bookkeeper.
So you'll be there?
Yeah.
Okay, Jocelyn and I will look for you. You gonna be the same spot?
Yeah.
Okay.
A little bit more expensive this year, they went up on everything.
Did they?
Colorado game was something, wasn't it? Did you watch that to replay?
That's the worst thing for college football right there.
I think you're about right.
Yeah, the kid for Colorado went both ways, 125 points, offense and defense.
Yeah.
Had 11 rushes and 1 interception.
I don't have any questions.
Yeah. Well, that's the time anyway.
You don't have enough agendas? I don't really need mine.
Agendas.
Are y'all ready?
We're keeping them.
Ready, Larry?
Rolling.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and call this, Resource Authority Board of Directors Special Call Meeting, September 5th, 2023 to order. First thing on here is report by the chairman. I do not have anything. Next thing, we got, I think one person wants to speak. Do you want to speak?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Thank you. My name is Kay Brooks. I reside at 123 Trousdale Drive, Hendersonville, Tennessee. I spoke at the last meeting specifically to ask you not to move your meetings to this location and to not hire Scott Foster. After the meeting, your attorney faced the attendees, raised his arms straight out, and shouted, "Heil Hitler!" I was stunned at the severe breach of professionalism, this absolute slap in the face of decency. As the chairman was passing me to leave, I asked him if he was okay with that statement and action. His response was, "I'm all right with it." This is outrageous behavior from both of them. Your lawyer needs to be fired and your chairman removed for condoning his behavior.
Noted. Anything else? Anybody else? All right, now we'll get on the agenda. Discuss the process and procedure for the hiring of the new general manager.
One comment I'll make, and I shared it on the initial email, and we got these emails out. There's some very qualified people that's on this list, and you know, I went through, I think we talked about trying to come up with 4 or 5 of our top names, but there's 3 or 4 of these people that it's almost a coin toss with one from the other. I mean, you know, they've all got civil engineering degrees, environmental engineering degrees, managed some big operations in other places, you know, Texas, Virginia, Phoenix, Kentucky. So we're fortunate to have, I think, some good candidates for consideration.
If I may, if during this process, in order to ensure some amount of discretion, and by the same time comply with the Open Meetings Act, 2 things you have to keep in mind. First of all, you can interview people, the committee or the board as a whole, or a board's designee can interview people in a non-public fashion. However, you cannot, either as a committee of 4, deliberate at that particular meeting. Some municipalities handle that by having each, for instance, the city of Gallatin, the mayor does not hire and fire department heads. That's a council decision by majority. In order to do that, what they do is they'll have each individual council person interview persons without a meeting. That's one way to do that. And then they come together at a public meeting to deliberate and discuss pros and cons. Another way to do it would be to meet as a committee and then make notes, but do not discuss the pros and cons of each candidate. However you all want to do that is fine, but you cannot, the key there is when you're having interviews or reviewing resumes, if you deliberate, discuss reaching a consensus, then it has to be an open meeting. So what would, the two goals here are to have interviews whereby the people feel comfortable because they may have other jobs. And so as long as there's not a deliberation either with the 4 members of the personnel committee or you make notes and then come together in an open meeting fashion, that would be perfectly okay. You also may want to consider having Larry involved in this process because nobody knows more about this job than he does. He's been doing it 4 years. Or as general manager since what, 2003? Yeah, so 23 years. So with that, how you all proceed is as long as those 2 criteria are met, then you're good to go.
Butch, I have a question. I was thinking about this. If we decide to, I already had noted before that I did already call them.
And that's fine.
Wasn't aware. And so
No, that's fine. And then, so you're not meeting together as a group.
Right.
So therein lies the distinction. You can do it individually, and that's how the city of Gallatin does their department heads, each individual
Right. So
board member.
and I just made notes on everything. But my question to you, sir, is when in the process of hiring this, because this is a process and procedure, like you were talking about, when is the point that we would do a background check, drug screening, all that? When does that occur?
That would be, again, that can be done as part of a committee, okay? But if you meet as a committee and deliberate toward a decision, that's where the statute has implications.
Okay.
As far as that is concerned, that can be done by a designee. If one person does it, then it's not an open meeting.
True.
Okay.
The only reason I ask this is because in my experience before, when I would hire people and get, interview and figure out who was the best choice, and like you said, Mr. Murphy, that there are several people that are very stellar and the good choices. So if we come into a situation where we pick out choices and then we go and there are candidates that we have our number 1, number 2, and number 3, because they may end up deciding to drop off and, as your list gets shorter and shorter. I'm just wondering, how much time frame are we gonna have here? How much time are we gonna give this process? Because he needs to leave.
Right.
And so, we're at the 1st of September, and I understand what Mr. Butch Moore is saying, is that you can't deliberate. You have to be, that has to be an open forum with the public. So, anyway, I had that question about that.
Butch, can we ask them what their current pay is?
Oh, sure.
Okay.
And that can be done again individually or
I see. Okay.
whatever the process you all decide.
Okay.
You can ask questions as a group.
Right.
Okay. And what if in that scenario, what would happen is you would do interviews, you would have a conversation with potential candidate or candidates, and then if you made your own personal notes,
Right.
that's not deliberation.
I understand.
When you all just start discussing amongst yourself, where there is 4 people or even 2 people, there's where the implication of the open
Right.
meetings happens.
Okay.
So do you think that would probably be the best thing to do, is the 4 of them with Larry, possibly interview those people, do it, take their notes individually, do whatever.
That's a decision.
Come back to us and then we could discuss it.
That's not a legal decision, that's a policy decision, that's up to y'all. The only thing that my input is to preserve, in order to try to find a balance for preserving discretion, but also complying with the Open Meetings Act, you have to have some caution.
Let me think about this. we really don't know what he does. If somebody asks you, what does this job entail? He knows more than anybody. To me, let me just pitch this out. Larry and Ryan, and if you want to put one board member in there, 3 people, go through these and sit down and talk to these folks and say, hey, and give us the 4 or the whole board, 1, 2, 3, 3 people. I'd say no more than 3, the top 3, and say we rate these 1, 2, and 3. Okay. Now we got to decide a lot of things. We got to decide: are we going to pay moving expense? He knows what all the benefits that we have. How much time do we give them to report? Okay. Then we got to decide how much we're going to pay them. But I think if we get these, like you said, I wouldn't want to come in and apply for the job and there were 7 people sitting around the room, especially if I didn't want anybody to know I was applying for the job. That's just me.
And the other thing is, are we gonna accept?
Hold on a second, y'all, we have a chair if somebody wants it. Go ahead, Mr. Mary.
What I was gonna say is, in the interviewing, I would hope, because some of them are out of state, we would accept a Zoom meeting with them to interview them on Zoom, instead of making them fly in from Texas or wherever. And, you know, some people live around here, so it could be that. But I understand what he's saying. But I think that everyone's had an opportunity to look at these resumes, I hope. And there are several in here that are very good. And, just from experience of hiring people can interview great and turn out to be a horrible employee.
Got to be checked out, got to be vetted.
Got to be vetted. So, anyway.
And maybe as a group, we come up with those questions as a committee that we want to say, okay, here's the questions that we want to address with each one of these potential candidates.
Can I suggest something of Larry? Perhaps he could get us a list of questions down that could be asked.
Right.
And and then get those responses and then go through those instead of, and then go through them together.
Yeah, we got to get him involved, obviously.
I want to add one other thing, is y'all mentioned about background checks and reference and stuff. At this point, Jason Gallo, our HR director, our administrative services director, he's done everything we've asked him to. I think he'd be willing to help with that if y'all feel like that could be helpful.
He's done a great job thus far.
Okay, I appreciate you saying that. I think he does a great job. But I sort of need to give him a heads up. It's going to be hard to say, hey,
You're
we
saying
need to.
background checks and like the drug screen?
Yeah.
I think that's great.
Okay.
Because that keeps us out of that.
Okay.
I don't think we can do drug screen.
No, it's a hip thing.
Yeah. I don't know.
We do.
Do you?
Yeah.
I was told that unless they have a CDL license, but maybe that's county
We do.
thing.
It's up to y'all.
We do drug screens here, pre-employment.
But your guys are driving. Do they don't?
Not everybody.
Oh.
Everybody gets pre-employment drug screen.
I think they were just worried about people suing for, I don't know.
Everybody
It's
gets
fine with me.
But we don't have to. It might be something
I don't
that the
care.
board we decide not to.
I just check.
But if y'all want me to, I'll just let Jason know that we're going to ask him for some more down the road if you want me to do that. But we don't have to make that decision now.
I like the idea with the 4 board members on the committee, because ultimately it is our responsibility. Like Mary, I've read through them already. It's not a.
Right. I agree.
And get Larry to help out.
I like Mary's idea with the questions, yeah.
Yeah, that because Larry's busy working the plant. I'm sorry, I call it a plant.
That's what it is, yeah.
And I think if he could just come up with a list of questions, email all of us the questions, all of us folks here, and that way we know what kind of things, and then what kind of gives you an idea of what he actually does that's important, and then that leaves him the ability to do his work. And,
But would you mind sitting in on interviews or not?
I don't mind, no.
Yeah.
That's,
I think it would be helpful.
I'm willing to do anything that helps with the process.
Yeah.
Speed it up.
Well, that's one thing I'd like to know. I mean,
Right.
what are we talking about here?
Right.
What's the expectations
In-game,
of me, you know? I've stated my desire to retire. I just kinda like to know what we're looking at here, so,
Time frame.
you know, I'm going on the rest of my life vacation, kinda, sorta.
Larry, do you have a deadline?
Well, I think I've already missed some of mine.
Well,
So could we line up interviews like in one, take a day and contact everybody and say, well, you know, if you're still interested in the job, we'd like to interview you, and just do 20-minute interviews, just, you know, keep it and snap them through so that you're not getting bottlenecked into a
Well, that was another thing I was gonna suggest, listening to you guys talk just then, is, you know, somebody needs to make contact with these people and let them know that they didn't just send something and it's been forgotten about.
Jason has. He
Okay.
responded to everybody that,
Yeah.
that they've been received.
Yeah.
And that was,
I knew he had, but I'm just talking about since then, maybe. I don't know, it's been
It's been a while.
a bit.
Yeah, I think I talked
So-
to the people 2 weeks ago.
You know, you wouldn't want somebody that really looks good say, well, you never call me back again, so
Yeah.
it's a possibility.
Here to take another job or just have to stay where you're at?
that was a thought I had.
Is that, you know, from talking to a few you that are on the four-person committee, I think we're ready to sit down and just say, here's, you know, just lay the cards on the table and say, here's our top 3 or 4 or 5 people or whatever. And let's at least try to scrub that a
so we
little
need to
bit.
set up a meeting. That's the next thing, I think, is when we want to meet, sit down, let's talk about them and find out who we want to contact, let him know, and sooner the better.
I mean, are we gonna try to have a timeline, you know, with,
Yeah.
I think part of that's gonna be driven by their availability and their ability to lift and shift and get out here and report for duty. Hopefully sooner rather than later, obviously.
You got, from today till the 30th, you've got 4 weeks. So is the time frame to be done within 4 weeks and make a decision and move on and let Larry go on his merry way?
well, I mean.
He's gotta train them.
Yeah.
Well, that's the reason I asked the question a while ago. What's the expectation of me?
Yeah, because you're gonna have to teach them.
You need
I
to spend,
guess.
you need to spend some time with them, that's,
Right.
if at all
And-
possible.
And they're gonna need to turn in notice at their existing jobs.
Move families, it takes time.
Yeah, that's, it depends on where they are and where they're coming from. It could be a lot of logistical stuff.
Because I
that needs
know
to
I
be
asked
worked out.
before to try to have somebody in place by the end of this month, but, you know, I don't know how that'll.
I've been
work
trying.
out.
I tried in May.
I'm not
Yeah, I know.
arguing, I just need to know.
Well, and I wouldn't wanna say, if we have a great candidate, and that candidate says, well, I have to give notice, 30-day notice, and, then I'm available to come down and train with him, and then after he's done with him, then they can just move in that time frame. But you're looking at October here for all this to happen. I mean, this isn't gonna be quick. So, are you available?
I can be, I mean, that's
I
what I'm
think
asking,
he just
you
wants
know.
to see something
Yeah,
moving.
you wanna go, he wants to go first.
I mean, if that's what it takes, I can be, I just need to.
We need to set a goalpost.
So do we meet on the 18th? Maybe this is the goalpost. On the 18th, can the committee give us the top 3 or 4?
I think we can do that before
18th
then.
of
18th of September.
September.
Is that
Well,
right?
we can't discuss. We can meet with them and we can have our notes, which would say if I'm correct.
You can discuss it, but it'd have to be.
And then we
another
can't,
meeting.
can't talk about our top choices until we get to that meeting.
Y'all can
So-
have a meeting just of the 4 of you.
No, we have to notice it,
Yeah.
Oh, it has to
We can
be,
do that.
okay.
yeah.
We can do that.
So we'd need just that time to tell.
Which, could be
It has to be
considered
noticed if,
72 hours.
I mean, if they're gonna discuss it.
Right, if they're not gonna discuss it, if you're going to make individual notes and not discuss it, and then when you have either a meeting of the board or a meeting of the personnel committee to discuss, that has to be an open meeting.
So by the 18th, we should have our information that we can present to the board. Here's my floor, here's your floor, here's your floor.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
We could do that and then make a decision.
We can do that before the 18th. But we haven't talked to them.
Right,
Yeah, we can't deliberate. We
right.
just have to
But I think if we
bring it
come
to
up with the questions that we want to
We
pose
can
to
do
these,
that.
we can do that offline, right,
What's
Butch?
Monday?
Okay.
Monday.
10.
Monday's the.
Larry, Mike.
Also, to the
Am I correct,
extent,
18th?
also to the extent, and here's another way, to the extent that either Jason and or Larry as an employee who does not have decision-making power, neither does it. If they were involved in the interview process, then that's certainly.
Takes it out.
Yeah.
That's the reason I was saying if Larry and Ryan and just,
That's just another, I'm not making that as a
I know.
suggestion, that's just a way.
and one board, say one board member.
I thought we already chose the four.
Yeah, we
four
got the-
board.
Well, I know, but I'm talking about to interview them, and then they could present it to the four.
With,
It
and
would
and one
speed up.
one of the problems about, or potential issues about the four with the deliberations is that constitutes a majority of the board.
Yeah. I'll back off. I'm off.
I don't want you to do that.
So
But,
it's three.
You don't have to
but
do that.
but even at three, if you meet and deliberate, then that implicates the Open Meetings Act.
All right, what if Larry and Ryan interview, if they pick three folks, their three best, and I would trust their judgment. Personally. I mean, they're in the business, they know what it's like. They haven't made a decision, they've given us three people or four people. And then we in turn look at those and say, yeah, I think this would
I
fit.
think it's the board's job to make this decision and take in all but one person for it. I think that's very transparent. I don't like that. And I'm not even one of the four that's on it, and I don't.
Well, what I'm saying, what it does, it eliminates it down. And
So,
I just hate to put somebody in a situation where it looks like a kangaroo court when they come in.
but I think
I
that.
think every place that they work probably has a board that they have to go before, I would imagine, if it's
Well,
this
final
type of
approval.
job.
Unless it's a private company.
Yeah.
So, okay, so we really need to figure out what we're doing, because I feel like we're running around in circles. So, the first thing we need to do is set a goalpost for him, number one, I think, in my opinion. Number two, we need to decide the interview, we need questions.
Yes.
We need a list of questions, and then we can call them and fill out the questionnaires, and then bring those questionnaires with the resumes to the board on the 18th and then make a decision, and then go from there. And I think Larry needs to be, and like you said, Ryan probably should be involved in
Well, yeah, as far as giving the top four, you got your top four already, haven't you?
Yeah, I've looked through, I think we've all got
Terry,
the top
you
4 or
got your
5 or
top four.
whatever.
I
Yeah,
do.
I got mine. We can meet tomorrow.
Well, we just
I
need,
can give you my top four tomorrow.
That
Matter of fact,
72-hour
If I had the
thing,
sheet
or-
with me, I could give you my top four right now.
so are we saying that we would have
But I
our
would like to
top?
call them back
Yes.
and ask those questions. You know, I asked them,
Your top four might change if you have specific questions to ask.
yeah, because I asked about certifications, I asked about how, relocating, how long have you done it, have you had,
What
you know,
questions are you talking about?
like their experience and what kind of things they're looking for,
Are
their
these
expectations.
questions that y'all gonna come up with, or what?
Yeah, I think that,
Well, now you said that you want the board to do it, not Larry, so
No.
you're telling him to do the
No,
No, that's
questions.
not what I said. Don't put words in my mouth. I never
Well, I'm
said
not.
that. I said the board should be the one to make the decision. I think Larry coming up with the questions is wonderful because he does the job on a daily basis and has done it for 20 years. I think that's a great idea.
I think maybe the four of us kind of be, here's some questions that I think would be pertinent, then we kind of compile that list of
Yeah.
questions, then we're ready to go.
Because we pulled the four that we like,
Yeah.
or we've looked through. I've already talked to them, but I'd like to call them back and
Once you have the questions,
re-question them, yeah. And find out in the questions where they are, and then bring that to the board and say, this is what I've gotten.
I can have I think all of us could have our proposed questions together in 24, 48 hours, just share among the committee, and then we just kind of put that one list of questions together, and then we got
You
a
mean the
question.
answers, yeah, so, Butch, when doing that with the answers, that the people give us, and then we share it among the committee, isn't that deliberating?
We can't share it, can we?
How are you sharing it? In a meeting?
Well, that's a good question, is, are we gonna just share it?
If you share it at a meeting, if you share it at a meeting, that implicates the Open Meetings Act.
So we still have to bring the top four with the questions and how they answered them to,
Right.
so that would be on.
But we all need to ask the same question, I think.
Yeah, I think that's where we
Right.
compile a single list of questions.
Can
My-
we
my-
have,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
can we have another special call next week and we all bring our questions right in here? We can special call, everybody can hear our questions and we cover it all. Open.
And then make our decision on the 18th.
Is there another way?
Well, that's one way, yeah.
Well, and then we can make the decision for the final candidate on the 18th, and that'll give them 1 month.
Well, no, are we leaving out a step though of talking to the candidates
We
in
gotta get
that
the
process?
question. You're trying to get the question first, I think, Larry. And then, once we decide on the questions.
No, I was just trying to make sure I
Yeah, I
understood what we were
think,
talking
am I
about.
right? We're trying to get
Yeah,
the questions.
I'm just
so
trying to
that-
get that in the open.
Yeah, let's get the questions down first, and then
Butch, let me
everybody.
ask you a question. And I don't know if you covered this earlier, but if you do a meeting with him, Ryan, and the four of them, is that still deliberating when you're doing that?
Yeah.
If the four
If
board
there's more
members
than
do
two.
deliberations, yes.
Okay, even though
Now,
they're in there.
if a designee or
Mhm.
designees do the process that are not board members that don't have decision-making power, but only recommendation, that's a different act.
If they're just sitting there listening, then it's not a meeting.
If there's no deliberation, there's not a meeting.
Okay.
If we're gonna meet next week, could we come up with our questions that we come, and then talk about, here's my top four?
Well, I thought we might have the questions before we meet next time, like he
Yeah,
would
I mean, yeah, we
shoot
can
us
do
the
that.
questions and, but make
I
sure.
mean, y'all are gonna have questions as
Mhm.
well. I mean,
Yeah.
it shouldn't
Yeah.
just be
I mean,
mine.
no, but
Yeah.
I mean, general questions about your,
Yeah.
Well, I think that Larry gave us his job description. And it said pretty much what Larry does.
For the most part, I mean.
That's what I looked at.
You know, if I can come up with something, I'd be willing to share that with everybody.
Bounce our consolidated list of questions against Larry, where he tweak those questions. And then if we can have our consolidated list of questions, then our four candidates, then, you know, that's, maybe we can kill two birds with one stone, one meeting.
yeah,
I guess the tricky part would be trying to schedule interviews
Oh,
with
yeah.
the top 3, 4, 2, whoever, how many it is.
And then there's the question about the interview. Does it have to be all four of us? What if one of us is busy? Two of us, or single, or, I mean, however we want. We could just say however it works out best and go with there and get the
Right.
flexibility.
The interview doesn't implicate the deliberation process. Interview is an interview, and it does not have to be, as long as there's not deliberation, it doesn't come under the implication or application of the Open Meetings Act.
It's how they answer the questions. I think we're gonna have stuff in there about their availability and things like that. So I think if we put together a good list of questions, we'll be able to get a pretty good idea of what, once we talk to them, if they're
And you can
viable
interview candidates as long as you don't deliberate.
among ourselves.
I went back last week just out of curiosity and read back through the minutes of, I hate to say how long ago this has been, 30 years ago, when the last general manager was hired before I took the position. and they did a similar process to this, but we're talking 30 years ago now. So when they narrowed it down to the top 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, they hired somebody to go out and videotape the interviews and bring them back to the board. And they're probably still here somewhere. If you had a VHS player to play them on.
Technology is
Yeah.
advanced now.
That was way before
Yeah,
Zoom.
Zoom, yeah.
yeah.
Computers were relatively young. Anyway, I just was curious in my own mind, kind of the process that was gone through the last time that this has been done. So, anyway,
Okay,
that's kind of an aside, but
so the plan, that first step is to get your questions.
Larry, do we meet on the 18th? Am I correct on that date?
no, it's the
That's
fourth
yeah,
Monday.
I thought I had that wrong.
So since we're all together and we have noticed this and we're talking about procedures and stuff, can we take on a couple of important questions right now? Such as the salary range, it's large, 85 to 125.
Yeah.
So we're gonna be looking at people falling all over that range. Are we set? I mean, if they're in the range, wherever they're at, whatever we can verify, we're not going to, are we all set with that range, I guess is the question on the table.
I don't think we're gonna find anybody for the low number.
Some of these people are very well qualified, got a lot of
Mm-hmm.
experience, big operations.
Yeah, they're gonna, yeah.
big
And I'm in
cities.
agreement there. I just want
Yeah.
to, I just
No,
want
I
it on the
agree.
table so
I
we can.
agree. Terry, I agree with
And
you.
that's what was
Yeah, that's-
advertised, right? The
Yes.
salary range was advertised.
And a lot's gonna depend on the guy's making and where he lives.
Mhm.
Yeah,
He lives in New York, for example, and he moves here.
He's a lucky
Cost of
man.
living's gonna be a lot less here than it is in New York, or if he lives in Chicago, it's a
Mhm.
lot less here than
Right.
it is there. So I think we can take that, and I think that's another thing we'll have to sit down and talk about.
Yeah.
But,
I just wanted to get us a little bit further down the road by taking on that
Yeah.
big question right
no,
now.
I think that's.
good, that's a good point, but you know, the mere fact that when Jason sent this out, he gave a range of salaries and they responded.
Yeah.
Somebody
Oh,
said,
we have that all the time where somebody responds and then comes back during the
I
interview
need-
process
I
and
want-
says they need more. And we're,
yeah, I
So
understand.
all the
Okay.
time it happens.
Good point, yeah,
It
good
is.
point.
So so the questions will be compiled and then we individually call them and ask them the questions, am I correct?
Once we have a consolidated list of questions.
And then.
But I don't
the
think there
committee-
were,
The committee, four of us will each call. Right? Am I right?
I'm just saying, are we going to just firmly say, once the questions are done, we'll ask no other questions? I want,
No.
if you could
No,
leave
No,
some
you
bit
can
of
give
flexibility.
any other questions.
That's all I was asking.
Just
for.
making sure that we have specific questions that will help us
Right.
get them, their understanding, because they may say, oh, well, I don't do that, I just put hamburger.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
So
you know.
wait, let me ask, so y'all were gonna each call them individually and ask them the same questions?
Yeah. That
I
doesn't
don't
make
know,
sense.
I don't think we've agreed, I don't think we've,
Well, we've chosen four, I don't know what his four are, I don't know what yours are, and I don't know what yours are.
Well, we're gonna compile a list, right?
Right.
So then you're gonna have some questions. No, either that or
I don't think
we
they
get
all
together and
need
put them
four.
on Zoom and,
Why
You're
can't you
saying
not?
y'all might have different people. You're four
Right.
people, so they may be calling different people.
Mhm.
And
Shouldn't-
then we're supposed to come together and say, these are the four, these are the top, out of my box, these are the top candidates that came forward, and these are the answers they gave. And then we as a committee decide, right, on who we bring to the board.
Our individual top four.
Yeah,
Why don't you just do a special call meeting and just interview them as a group? Why don't we
I
just do
think that
that?
would be great.
Why don't we just do that? What's wrong with
Yeah.
that?
I
I
think
mean,
that's a
because
great
you're gonna be,
idea.
you
No, we
might
did
call the
that
same person and she might, he might, this guy's.
yeah, we did that, I think we
So
did
just-
that with the county attorney.
We do this with the
everybody
city,
one
that's
day.
what we do.
Mhm.
I don't have a problem with that at all.
I think that's a great
We
idea.
could
And
do
then
it on
that
Zoom.
way Larry and Ryan can be in on it and everything. Why don't we just do that?
Yeah, we could do it by Zoom.
Narrow it down to say,
Towards the
I mean,
duplication.
line it up with, say, the top 6 or whatever. Get them to come in, then narrow it down.
And then if they can't.
well,
we'll
either
have
come
to send
or
out
be
a
on Zoom.
Or Zoom,
Yeah, either way.
Yeah.
That's
Line
become,
them up
that's
for-
very common for us.
30 minutes a person or something, just do that. What's wrong with that?
I have no problem with that. So you wanna do interview the candidates in a open meeting?
It's up to y'all.
Yeah, I mean, to me, that's the best thing to do.
I have no problem with
Of
that.
the whole board or just the
No,
committee?
just the
Committee.
And you four can talk among yourselves and then.
Yeah.
and then that's it.
Interview the committee, okay, let me get this straight, cause I'm a process person. So interview the candidates, the four of us in an open meeting, in open forum, right? We're gonna make a schedule, we'll get
What would it have to
appointments.
be, since we're just interviewing, we're not making a decision?
Right.
You can interview as long as you don't deliberate.
Yeah,
Right.
we're
ask
getting
them
answers and we're making notes and then,
The four of us.
yeah. I guess the only, would have to, at some point, I guess when we made a report, we'd have to say, this is our number one, number two, number three.
Or each individual on the
Could make
committee
it up.
could
Say
submit
this is
their
1, 2, 3,
report.
and 4, see how they
Put them in
compare.
an envelope, say here
As
you
long as
go.
we
Just
don't-
do a rating system, say, look, this is number one, number two, number three,
Right.
1, 2, 3, 4, whatever.
You make, it goes back, you make individual notes, but if you deliberate,
Yeah,
Right.
I got you.
then
So we can't have a group ranking then, because that would be deliberating.
Correct.
Correct.
Well,
you can have you can have the ranking at an open meeting.
Right.
Okay.
Which I
You
think y'all
can
should
make the
do.
notes, and that's not a meeting. If you, once the interviews don't have to be a meeting as long as the members who are board of the committee, who are board members, don't deliberate amongst themselves.
I think I agree with Craig. I think if we just make everything open, we don't have to worry about
Yeah.
anything. It's just all open. And then we don't have to worry about, did I say it wrong? Did we go, well, that's a good answer, and then we're in trouble.
Well, then you're not bombarding that same guy. It's a
Yeah.
phone call asking the same question 3 times, you know?
Yeah, we don't need that.
No, you don't do that.
I've been like, God, why
So
don't
we need to
do that?
schedule time to do this. So when do you wanna do this?
Yeah, we probably need to try to do it next week.
Do y'all?
Yeah, so
I'll
next
make
week,
myself
but we
available.
need,
Monday?
we need to get some type of notification of those people to let them know
Probably Tuesday.
that we need to do this.
Well, we're not gonna be talking to them Monday or Tuesday. Or, right, we're just coming up with the questions and,
Well, if we can get questions before the before we do an open meeting,
Right.
then we can just go ahead and go for it.
Yeah,
okay, all right.
Not wait,
I
because
think
it's
you
time.
interview them once you have that meeting.
Now, you know, if I come, so I've got 4, you got, you know, I really think we're going through the resumes, we're gonna have 2 or 3 that I think most of us are gonna agree on, possibly. But if there's more, if there's, you know, if I have 2 that aren't on y'all's list, now our list is expanded to 10 or 12 people. We're gonna reach out to all 10 or 12 of those people, or we're gonna try to say, okay, let's go our top 5, 6 people, and then let's call them as a group.
I think we
Yeah.
all see the same resumes you see, Rick.
Right.
I think that those 2 or 3 float to the top. They're so way
I
overqualified.
think,
that
I agree,
it's-
but.
We
you
would
know,
be lucky.
Yeah,
I mean,
okay.
these people are coming in from major operations.
Yeah.
Have you looked at the resumes, Larry?
Yes, ma'am.
You have?
Mhm.
So you know what we're seeing as these candidates
I
that
know I
are
don't
very
have a vote,
qualified.
but I've got a top 4 or 5 that I picked.
And it's easy to see who
I
the
bet they're
top
gonna be very,
few
I bet
are.
all of us probably have this very
I
similar.
think you're right, I think
Yeah.
3 anyway.
Yeah,
That'll be nice.
Yeah.
Will we?
yeah. Have you looked, have you had a chance to? Yeah, so you
I mean,
see it too.
Yeah, there's at least 3 that really stand out.
So
Yeah.
we haven't
Yeah.
talked about the new ones that came in and what y'all wanna do with those. So I sent an email on,
Yeah.
Friday morning,
Two guys.
Friday, yeah.
that were technically late, but it's up to this board what we do with them.
When was it?
How
I'm
many?
sorry,
It's
I've been
Friday.
in a hurricane.
Friday.
How many were there?
I think I believe there was one that was qualified and then a couple that were unqualified.
Maybe the one
Yeah.
qualified.
I saw the qualified. It was a good resume.
Well, okay.
Yeah, if it's the one, I was having to go back and I wasn't sure I was identifying the right one that was the new one
Okay.
because I thought I'd seen it before. I was like, well, I think this is the new one.
Can we ask what that name is of the new one?
Well, you're in an open meeting now.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Okay. Well, if you could send us a note, just let us know who that person is, or resend that one resume perhaps.
So there was an Excel spreadsheet on there with all the ones that were original,
All
that
of them,
new,
the ones that came
yeah,
in late.
and then
Some-
qualified and unqualified.
I'll go back and look.
Okay.
Just list it.
Okay. I just can't remember. I've
No
slept
problem.
since then.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Okay, so do y'all ready to set a time to, when do y'all wanna do it, next what?
I would say if we could do it on Tuesday, because we have meetings on Monday. Do y'all wanna do it Tuesday?
Fine with me.
That's okay.
That okay?
Tuesday,
Council
Everybody good?
meeting, council meetings
What time do you wanna do?
on Tuesday.
We do, but.
Yeah,
that's
we
okay,
can,
that's okay.
we'll meet at 4.
I mean,
okay.
cause do we need to be here too?
You
Huh?
okay?
I said, do we need to be here too?
Yeah. I mean,
Or
if
is it
it's
just the
a-
four?
That's
y'all.
just the 4, right?
Just the
Right,
4,
yes,
yes.
just the four.
Okay.
Be fine.
4 of us, yeah.
And Larry, right?
And Larry, yeah.
Yeah.
Right, so 4
It
o'clock.
can be,
Yeah,
yes.
okay.
So we gotta
Tuesday,
set
4.
these up though, right, to interview them.
And they may or may not, some of them may or may not be available. And then there's time of day. I assume I hope they're all working full-time jobs.
But we gotta decide first. I don't think we interview next.
No, maybe start that the following week.
Yeah,
Okay.
What's that?
So we're gonna come up with the
19th.
questions and our list of our top 4.
and decide on that next Tuesday at 4.
Is that good?
Okay.
And then that way you can be ready to interview in what the earliest is, we can roll out from
I
that.
think that's good.
And if anybody wants to come
It's a
in.
plan.
Okay, and then the goal though is to, with that, is to bring those resumes to the board on, in the month, the 25th.
Well, aren't y'all gonna try to interview like the following week?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then
Bring it
bring it to you,
25th.
Yeah.
here, all of us,
the following week, yeah.
the following.
That'll work out good.
Yeah, September. And then Larry, that would give them, whoever just, we pick and they agree, then that gives time for background check, drug screen, and then their resignation letter to their business. So it's 30 days. Can you hang out and train them for a while?
I think so.
And they might be able to come down and
Maybe.
cross-train a little bit while they're working,
Yeah.
you know. Some people will do that. Okay. That gives us a goal.
So we'll exchange some questions among ourselves then, the 4 of us, between the next couple of days. Is that good?
Yeah, I mean, my questions, you know, are based on what the job description was and what
Right.
common interview questions.
Sure.
As far as what he does, day-to-day operations, I would be a traffic cop out here. That's all I would be able to tell him.
Right.
So I don't know
That's
the
very
process.
important.
I'm not a process engineer.
Well, you're talking about availability and salaries and just availability, I think is key. I assume.
I'm looking for somebody who has good management skills, who has good, who can coordinate and collaborate and really be able to understand a process. Because to me, I look at this, and I'm not an engineer, but I look at this as a process. And so as a process person, I look at, are they a good manager? Are they good at time management skills? All that kind of stuff that a
Yeah.
good leader would have. Not necessarily that they worked in a resource authority for
Sure, exactly.
a zillion years.
And some of those attributes are in those resumes, but again,
Exactly.
at the end of the day, do they in fact have those qualities?
Right.
Is there any reason we can't have questions? We could just come up with the questions. We're all right here. Mary has good ideas of questions. Rick's agreeing. We're looking for good management skills, availability,
yeah.
I mean, I like.
Salary requirement?
salary
Current
requirement.
salary.
We could just
Yeah.
hammer out these questions right now and
Yeah, that's great.
we can get closer to Larry's retirement
One of the
too.
big questions I asked was, why do you wanna do this?
Do you want
Why
it?
do you wanna leave
You
your
send out
job
an
and do this?
application.
Yeah.
Why you wanna leave where you are?
Yeah.
Or do you think you could live in this town? Does your wife think she could move?
Or your husband.
Or husband.
Well,
Yeah,
I don't think she made the top 4, did she?
yeah, I would. The woman did. From Kentucky.
I don't know, I just said that. Well, your spouse is important.
Very.
You said in the resume, but would that person want to move?
They've also already read the job description.
Right.
So we can walk through any elements of the job description.
And I think, I was involved with the chamber, as some of y'all know, for a number of years. They've got a very good relocation package we could send to these people just to let them know, hey, here's what Gallatin's all about.
I don't think we have to sell them on Tennessee. That's why they all applied.
I think
I
you're
think,
right.
well, probably correct, yeah.
I think you're right.
So, does that pretty much cover the questions, the flavor of the questions? Without
so.
having to take
Availability,
another
salary.
day to take care of that.
Good point, yep.
We always ask department directors and above to name a challenging time that they've had with their supervisor,
Right.
with their board.
Best in the world.
Yeah. And it's interesting the answers you get, and they should be prepared for that type of question.
Yeah.
It's not a trick question or a gotcha question. They really should be prepared for that.
I know when I've done some interviews before, we always ask the question, you know, what's something that went very badly in your work and how did you respond to it?
Well, and also another thing you might want to ask them is, what do you think are the best practices for this job?
Right.
You know, top 3 best practices that you would think. If you're looking at this industry, what's the 3 top best practices that you think are, you know, in this job?
With the understanding that this place is growing, it's like the circus, it's getting bigger and better every week, and you'll be able to adapt on the move to the expanding responsibilities and demand on your operation here.
Of course, if there are 4 of us asking questions, everything will come out.
Yeah. And
So I think we have a good flavor of the questions and
I think
everything. So let's move forward.
All right,
Yeah, I just-
So now where are we at?
We need to come up, I guess, with who we think are the top, what, 4, 5? What do you think? I don't know. We can get too many,
Right.
and I think we can get some good quality people, and maximum 4.
Well, I think the board direction they gave the 4 of us were the top 4,
Yep.
if I recall that correctly.
Okay.
Only if you can't get it down to 3 or 2.
Yeah,
So-
we could get it down.
But that's what y'all gonna do at the next meeting, right? To narrow it down.
Yes, sir.
And,
Okay.
yeah. But I don't think if number 5 is really super qualified,
Pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, we might get 4 and we might find out we've had such a delay in hiring that they've all found new jobs. But I guess then we could go 4 anyways.
Back
Just
up.
have a
So
couple
we'll
in our
get
back
together
pocket.
in an open meeting
Okay.
and put our
Tuesday,
list
4.
together.
And y'all said
4
what?
o'clock Tuesday.
Tuesday?
Tuesday,
4 o'clock,
4
4
Where
o'clock
at?
Tuesday.
Here, at this place, or?
Okay.
Yeah.
Is
You
that
gonna-
again so
Better.
we can watch them building?
Are y'all gonna put out notice about that?
If that's what we need to do, I can facilitate that, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Tuesday, 4 o'clock.
It's not a board meeting per se, it's just.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a
But
special
it'd be a
call
committee meeting, what are we calling it?
Special call.
Special call?
Is it
Committee.
the committee or the
Committee
board?
meeting.
For the
Just
committee,
a
right?
committee, that's the
4
4.
persons.
Personnel.
Special call committee
Yeah.
meeting, personnel committee.
There we go.
There you go.
And what's our, cause it has to be very specific what we're doing. We're gonna put the names, we're just gonna come up with the names and the
Names.
time to do the interviews.
Yeah.
And to reiterate, the interviews are gonna be in an open meeting too.
And y'all might wanna discuss the questions you're gonna ask, something like that, so, yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
All right, do we need a motion on that?
Yes.
Okay, do I hear a motion?
My motion.
Second.
So they're gonna meet on the 11th.
The 4th, well, yeah, 11th.
Okay, and doing interviews when?
Got a motion by Mary, second by Rick. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries.
So
So
next
that's
time,
on the 11th, that's
Yeah,
For
Monday, next Monday.
No, y'all say Monday or
Tuesday.
Tuesday?
I
Tuesday.
think it's a
Tuesday.
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 That's the 12th.
This 12th.
Twelve.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's the 12th.
Yeah, 12.
Right.
so the next time we'll all meet is the 25th.
Correct. And hopefully that'll be 2 weeks, so we'll be able to have some.
And then we were gonna meet the following week to, right? Am I right?
To interview,
interview.
yeah.
The 7th, so 7th, that would be, 7th would be the 19th of September, we would be interviewing.
Which can the committee decide to have another meeting if they want to, or do we have to make that decision?
The committee can meet, okay, can, as many times as it wants to. as
So
long-
but they can decide next week if they say, okay, then
Is,
we need to meet the following
If the
week.
meeting has interviews, okay, then that doesn't have to be quote-unquote a meeting as long as there's no deliberation.
But if they wanna have deliberation, they can decide to have a.
Open meeting, yes.
Okay.
Can we, I don't know about you guys' availability. We need 72 hours or 48 hours. We could meet this week. We could speed this up. Yeah, if, I'm asking. No.
Yeah,
If you wanna meet on Friday night
Yeah,
or Saturday, I can meet, but I'm sorry, I just got back from a hurricane and I'm back to.
understand.
Is this
You
gonna be
don't
a,
need me, I mean, yeah, I mean.
Yeah, we wanna, I was just throwing it out there.
I'll meet whenever.
I mean,
When's your availability, Mary?
the
Friday night, you cooking dinner?
12. I've got it right here, 12.
Can everybody come to your house?
No.
The 12th.
we got it on Tuesday, right? Got it. All right. That's not it.
We're not meeting Friday or Saturday, we'll meet Tuesday.
Correct.
That's good, okay.
All right. That's it. Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Good. Quick meeting.
Larry.
I agree with that. That was